This is the second battle between KURWA and Iraklis in the use it and lose it semifinals. This is a matchup that's very interesting to me because remember back when we saw Baktria stomp Pontus, and I said, well, Iraklis would probably bring pikes to deal with Baktria. And here we are in the semifinals, and Iraklis is bringing pikes to deal with Baktria. He has a front line of 4 bronze shield pikes. Then he has Eastern Slingers, 3 of those, 4 mercenary Scythian horse, 4 mercenary naked swords, Pontic Royal Cav General, and Noble Bloods, not Cappadocians. This is interesting. For Baktria, of course, the awesome Baktria Noble Horse. Very expensive, deadly to almost all cavalry units in the game. Super sturdy, super reliable. Then for infantry we have Scaled Thorax Hoplites, of course we do. Thorax Swords, Bactrian Royal Guard, Eastern Spears, Eastern Slingers. This is a daunting army to be facing for Pontus. We have four Thorax Swords, I believe, and also I believe we have 4 Scaled Thorax Hoplites, together with some Eastern Spears. That, together with the Bactrian Noble Horse, Eastern Slingers, is potentially hard to deal with. Simply having the killing power to kill all of these infantry units without using a chariot is... because if you look at Iraklis' army, he basically only has 8 infantry units, and he has 4 melee infantry units, which is crazy. And he is firing on these Eastern Spears with heavy shot, no less, and it sort of makes sense in a way, just dealing with the Eastern Spears early on. It's something that I personally would never do. But if you're able to get off the meat shield units off the field, then you're going to be able to... These guys could support cav fights, so maybe you're theoretically saving a cavalry unit, or just trying to find a reason to be firing on the Eastern Spears. Because this is obviously what they are best at. Just being annoying and taking fire. And they are taking fire now, but it does... If you lose a unit of Eastern Spears, I mean, you haven't lost too much of your army. And the enemy, if the enemy has lost a lot of arrows, then that could be a cost-effective trade. But you've lost some tactical flexibility if you lose a unit of meat shields. But against the particular army that Iraklis has, KURWA doesn't really need meat shields. He doesn't really need cav support either, because if we match support for his cav fights, because if we match the units up one by one, Noble Bloods versus Bactrian Royal Cav, the Naked Swords versus the Scaled Thorax and the Thorax, then KURWA simply wins by default. I mean, he just has a stronger army. And the X factor would be, in this case, the pikes and the horse archers of Iraklis. But Iraklis is currently using his horse archers to kill off Eastern Spears, which once again is questionable. Very questionable, and he hasn't killed a single unit of Eastern Spears yet. And of course he can't... The Eastern Slingers are protecting the Bactrian Noble Horse, and the Bactrian Noble Horse, they are actually facing the mercenary Scythian horse archers to get their missile defense against... in the direction they are facing, so... It's clear that KURWA is aware of what's happening, and these small things make the difference between someone who's a good player and someone who's a great player. It's not just micromanagement. It's having the knowledge and the experience and the awareness to make the right decisions, make the right adjustments to your army at the right points. But if I'm KURWA and I'm looking across the battlefield here, I'm basically thinking, okay, I can YOLO rush and just hold the pikes, move around, and I win very, very easily. Even just rushing up with the thorax swords, throwing the precursors, pulling back. I mean, there are so many options here for KURWA, and really very few options for Iraklis. The Eastern Spears are about to bite the dust. Quite literally. At this point they probably should just get charged, but would pull them in range of these guys. Might see some Eastern Slingers skirmishing starting soon. The Eastern Slingers are moving up here. And now it looks like, yeah, they're finally going to be charging the Eastern Spears and trying to get them off the field. So need to pull out straight away. Indeed, pulling out straight away, so that's the first unit down. The Baktria Noble Horse tries to give chase here, and that means it's taking fire. It might be able to catch the, the mercenary Scythians rush out of there quickly, so might be able to damage the Bactrian Noble Horse. They are certainly taking fire. And oh yeah, the mercenary Scythian horse, when you fire into the front of Eastern Spearman, you're going to be... They have 45 armor and they have very good shield, 40% missile block chance. So you are wasting a lot of ammunition on the Eastern Spears. But I'm quite curious to see what the strategy here is behind focusing this much on the Eastern Spears. It's quite unorthodox, to say the least. Moving up as well now, perhaps wanting to get the slingers in range. Only 3 slingers. Only... But this leaves an opening, actually, for the horse archers to go in and damage the Baktria Noble Horse. They are the prime target. There's also an opening for the horse archers to go and get at the Eastern Slingers. Now, the Eastern Slingers of Iraklis are firing here. Don't know what the Baktria Noble Horse is doing. Nope, it just wanted to get away, it seems. But the cavalry of Iraklis might be a bit too far away here to stop the flank, actually. Looks like we have Noble Blood just YOLOing out, but they're going to get countered by the Baktria Noble Horse. Yep, the Baktria Noble Horse, a much superior unit. Noble Blood's getting the charge again here as well. Actually, I was surprised to see the Baktria Noble Horse. Maybe it had taken some prior hit point damage, because the Noble Blood did better on the charge than I expected them to do. And here, very nicely done, getting in with the mercenary Scythian horse archers, inflicting rear charge penalties, getting the slingers off the field. But the mercenary naked swords are fighting against Baktria Noble Horse, and if they get their charge bonus in here, that could be very useful. But ooh, very nice. The Baktria Noble Horse pulls out here and goes for the pikes. Iraklis actually sees it and turns around his bronze shield pikes. And the Baktria Noble Horse is dropping very, very quickly. About to lose a mercenary Scythian, about to lose another mercenary Scythian here to these scale thorax. Fighting them, probably not the best idea. But he's actually using naked swords here to win his cav fights, and it's a smart choice, because he has pulled away his Eastern Slingers here, and here come the Pontic Royal Cavalry charging into the thorax swords. So Iraklis knows that if he can defeat the Baktria Noble Horse and have some cavalry and skirmishers remaining, then he has the perfect tools to be able to deal with the Bactrian army. The bronze shield pikes not really getting any kills here. They were disorganized. The Pontic Royal Cav didn't do too much damage against the thorax swords. Here come the noble blood, and on the flanks, the cav fight was won quite masterfully by Iraklis, I'd say. I certainly wouldn't have expected him to use mercenary naked swords to support his cav fights and just screen with the pikes, but of course that's exactly what he did. And using the horse archers here to remove the eastern slingers from the field, getting a lot of kills on these horse archers, using them very well. Here, noble blood cavalry fighting scale thorax hoplites and pikes. Noble blood needs to be pulled out right away. Don't want to be fighting scale thorax. More scale thorax coming into this fight here, so the noble blood cavalry needs to get out. They have barely taken any damage here. Mercenary naked swords just standing around, not doing anything, and now they won the fight, so they can just pull out. Scale thorax have taken a right beating. The eastern slingers get hit by some thorax swords here. It doesn't look like they pull out in time, actually. A bit of miss micro there from Iraklis. Rare charging with the noble bloods, and certainly going for another charge with the mercenary naked swords any minute now. Here come the Pontic Royal Cav in to stop the thorax swords, and Iraklis pulling away where he's not in an advantageous position, getting his bronze shield surrounded though, so the scale thorax are attacking. The pikes turned around, but not in time to get a good engagement there. They wouldn't have gotten a good engagement anyway, but he did turn to face the unit that had the most men in them. So that was a good idea. Now here the scale thorax are being defeated by bronze shield pikes and noble blood. Or about to break. Yeah, they shatter. So good for Iraklis, that one. The thorax swords are losing, but they might just straight up lose that fight against the mercenary naked swords. Here come the cavalry into the back of the scale thorax hoplites. The eastern slingers firing. And frenzied mercenary naked swords should have no problems with the thorax swords. Although the terrain is favorable for some of the men and unfavorable for some of them. This has progressed to be a very surprising battle for me. So yeah, the Baktria Noble Horse get a charge. Getting hammered by Pontic Royal Cav and Noble Blood Cav. And I think it's quite apparent how this is going to go. At the beginning of the battle I said that Iraklis knows he needs to win. He knows he needs to win the cavalry fight, and in that sense, killing the eastern spears makes sense. And Iraklis did exactly that. He won the cav fights on the flanks, while basically just holding the center. And judging by what he has left now, I'd be very surprised if KURWA was able to bring this back. But it is still possible. But I'm going to be honest and say that it's highly unlikely. 30 Pontic Royal Cav, 25 Noble Blood, 38 Noble Blood. I don't know how much ammo is left on these guys, but Iraklis has so much cavalry left. He has his mercenary naked swords. They are exhausted, but getting a lot of kills, at least on this one unit. The thorax swords done a decent job. Taking fire all the way though, and it won't take many cav charges to kill these depleted units. Very frustrating for KURWA, I'm sure. And I also remember saying that I don't like the prospect of facing Baktria as Pontus, because I think Baktria, under these rules, Baktria is a stronger faction. But I think I also said, with the exception of Iraklis, I think anyone would be hard pressed to make it work. It just does things differently, and it makes for entertaining and unexpected games. With Iraklis, you should expect the unexpected. Baktria and Royal Guard, exhausted, charging towards Nobleblood. The Nobleblood is going to be able to just pull away. Here the Thorax Swords get hammered by 2 units of Mercenary Naked Swords, and they're going to die very quickly under that. The Scaled Thorax Hoplite is coming in to help them, but the Mercenary Naked Swords run after them. And that's going to hurt some Scaled Thorax Hoplites. Losing decisively even, the Pikes jog in to support. The Naked Swords have gangbanged the Thorax Swords. Now the Scaled Thorax Hoplite is about to break here. And Iraklis hasn't had to use his cavalry support just yet. He might win with just his infantry, but it's unlikely. The Bronze Shield Pikes are down to 19 men, still in the fight. Now they broke. So now it's up to the naked dudes. Ooh, getting the downhill charge here would be devastating. But instead the Scaled Thorax Hoplites come in here and about to lose decisively. Mercenary Naked Swords get a charge here on the Scaled Thorax. So Baktria is very, very close to chain routing due to army losses. The Baktria and Royal Guard still in the fight because they have used their rally and their raised banner. But I mean, there's nothing Baktria can do at this point, and Iraklis takes it. Takes it by doing just about the only thing he could do, which was plop down his pikes and get the, look at the balls rolling here, the slingshots. Or those might be the balls of the Naked Swords being chopped off, I'm not entirely sure. So costly victory there for Iraklis, and it was a good one, getting a lot of kills out of his Mercenary Naked Swords. The Mercenary Scythian Horse, like I said, using them to kill Eastern Spears doesn't make sense at all unless you consider that that was probably what was needed to win the cab fight and to stop him from using, stop KURWA from using these units to just hold the pikes in the center, and it ended up working. And this army is just so Iraklis, and the battle was just so Iraklis, but it was great fun watching. I hope you enjoyed it too. So, since there are more battles, I'm going to go and assume that this is a best of 5. And we'll see what happens in game number 3. So far, Iraklis is up 2-0 for KURWA. Let's see if he can bring it back. Strength and honor.